Hey guys, welcome to Simplilearn's YouTube channel. Today, we will learn what exactly are charts in Tableau and how to implement them in real time. So before we begin, I would like to tell you guys that we have daily updates on multiple technologies. So if you are a tech geek in a continuous hunt for latest technological trends, then please consider getting subscribed to our YouTube channel and don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you can never miss an update from Simplilearn. Now, without further ado, let's directly begin with the one-point agenda, that is the charts in Tableau. So for the charts in Tableau, I'm using two different datasets to just make things look a little bit more interesting. So the first dataset that we will be dealing with is the Amazon Prime TV dataset. So this particular dataset has the following columns: the serial number, name of the serial, year of the release, number of seasons, language, genre, IMDb ratings, and age of viewers. So we will be using this particular data and we'll try to extract some insights from this data using the charts in Tableau. So followed by Amazon Prime TV dataset, we have another dataset called as the Tableau Superstore dataset. So this particular dataset is a sample dataset available in Tableau Public and it is open for all. You can take this dataset and try to extract some insights from this as well. Now without further ado, let's try our first chart, that happens to be the bar chart. So what exactly is a bar chart? As you can see on the left side, we have a sample image which explains how a bar chart typically looks like. So a bar chart basically represents the data in the form of rectangular bars with the length of the bar proportional to the value of the variable. Now this might be a little deviated, I can understand that. So to understand this in a much more better way, let's get back to Tableau and execute some practical examples and understand what exactly is a bar chart in a much more detailed way. So here we are on the Tableau. So you can see I have already executed some examples on the Amazon Prime dataset, and we have all the charts that we'll be going to discuss today. We have the bar chart, Pareto chart, side-by-side bar chart, text chart, tree map, etc., etc. Now why am I showing this? So I have actually saved this dataset, or what do you call it, as book. Yeah, we call it as a book in Tableau. So I've executed all the charts and I have saved this in the form of a book in the Tableau Public. And I'll also give the link to this particular book so that you can have a reference to this and you can try to execute your examples on your own in your local system. Now for our reference, let's try to create a new sheet. So we can name this new sheet. Just double click on that. So I'll rename this as bar chart too so that we don't have a confusion between the existing bar chart and the new bar chart. Just press enter and it's done. So to execute a bar chart, let's select genre and drag it down to columns, and the Prime TV shows and drag it down to rows. Now you can see that we have a bar chart here which explains us we have different genres such as action, comedy, adventure, animation, etc., etc. So now let's kind of sort it. So now you can see in the particular type of genre, which is drama, we have the most number of Prime TV shows. So basically the audience would like to see the drama based seasons or serials at the most compared to others. So remember we discussed the length of the bar which shows the volume of the variable. Let's get back to the definition once more. So you can see a bar chart represents data in the form of rectangular bars. That is, we have the data represented in the form of rectangular bars, and continued with that with the length of the bar proportional to the value of the variable. So we have the drama at the maximum number of series, so 125 number of shows based on drama. So this happens to be the biggest one, and followed by that a little smaller one which has a little less number of seasons or shows, which is the type genre comedy. So you can see that if the value is bigger, the volume of the length or the length of the bar is bigger. So that's how the bar chart works in real time. So it basically shows the biggest bar for the biggest amount of data. Now followed by the bar chart, the next chart we have is this side-by-side bar chart. Now what exactly is a side-by-side bar chart? So a side-by-side bar chart is completely similar to the bar chart. No rocket science or nothing big difference in between the bar chart and the side-by-side bar chart. If we get back to Tableau, you can see that we have different genres here. So we have drama, comedy, kids, action, etc., etc. So if we wanted to change this into a side-by-side bar chart, then we can add one more data into the columns, which happens to be the name of the show. So what exactly will be happening here? So we will be getting few more bars over here. So those few more bars will be of the name of the show. So in the genre of drama, we'll be having different shows, right? For example, the show name A is in the form of drama, show name B is in the form of drama, and followed by that we have AA in comedy, BB in comedy. So that's how you categorize. So basically, the bars will be represented, that's for sure, and the data is represented in the form of categories. So we have few serials in the drama category, we have few serials in comedy category. So that's how it happens. Now let's see that practically. Now let's drag the show name to columns and we'll see that happening. So you can see that happening over here. Now let's kind of sort it again. Yeah, it's sorted. So you can see we have the first category, that is the arts, entertainment, culture. So in that particular category, we have different shows. Tommy Little and the Son of Abisha and Paul Chowdhury, etc., etc. So basically we have categorized them and we have the side-by-side bar charts comparing each other. Now we'll get back to a little farther and there you can see we have the genre here and the series happening in this particular genre. So this the drama genre, and inside that we have various amount of series, The Good Fight, The Good Doctor, etc., etc. So that's what the bar chart does in real time. So basically we had the same bar chart, but the only difference is the fields were divided in different categories. Now followed by the side-by-side bar chart, the third type of chart that we will be having today is the Pareto chart. Now what is a Pareto chart? So Pareto chart has bars and a line graph. So far we have discussed bar charts. We will also discuss the line graphs in the further section. So line graph is no different from bar charts, but the only difference is you can see here, right? So if we pull out the names, so we have this bar chart. So we can actually change this chart into a line chart just by clicking on line. So you can see this has converted into line chart. So we'll deal with that in a little more detail. We don't worry about it. So this is how a line chart basically looks like. So I have explained you the line chart just because we have the two different types of charts in the Pareto chart. So there is an inclusion of a bar chart as well as a line chart or the line graph. So a Pareto chart has bars and line graph. The individual values are shown in descending order by bars and the ascending cumulative total is represented by the line. So we will understand the definition in a bit more detail practically by getting back onto Tableau. Now let's get back to Tableau 1. So now we are back on Tableau. Now let's create a new chart or new sheet. Let's rename the sheet as a Pareto chart. Don't worry, we have already a Pareto chart over here. I'll just rename it as Pareto 2. Don't worry, at the end of the video, I'm not going to save anything onto this particular book. We'll be having the book as it was when we started the tutorial so that you don't have to face any duplications in this particular book. So Pareto chart 2. Enter. And now we have the Pareto chart 2 over here. So to create a Pareto chart, let's drag the genre into the columns. Yeah, now we have the genre into the columns. Now into the rows, we'll drag the number of prime TV shows based on that particular genre. So now we are back on the bar chart now. Tableau has automatically selected the type of chart to be used for this particular data, which is the bar chart. Now let's right click on the genre and now you can see a sort option. Now we have the dialog box over here. Let's select the sort by option by field and let's select descending order and aggregation by count. So we'll select this and the aggregation is count and it's done. Let's close it now. Now the second step is we will drag the Amazon Prime TV show dataset again onto the rows. Now we have two different bar charts. Now everything starts from here. We'll change few things so that we create a proper Pareto chart. Now we will select or right click the second count Prime TV shows, and now we will select dual axes. Now you can see the chart has changed itself into the dots type. Now you might have a doubt. We had two different bar charts. Now we just have one axis, that is y-axis and x-axis, and the two charts have gone into one. So what's happening here? So what's basically happened here is we just merged the x-axis of both the measures. So we have the measures over here, right? The count of Prime TV shows and the second count of Prime TV shows. So we have basically merged the x-axis of both these measures. Now we'll enter into the step 3. So now you can see on the marks card we have two different count Prime TV shows. So we'll now select the first one, and inside that we have the pop-up of marks card where we have the options of selecting the kind of charts for our data. And now for the first one we will select the bar type of chart. Now you can see that we have the bar type of charts over here. Now we will select the color for our bars. So to select color, you just need to select the color option, and inside that we have various types of colors. Now let's select kind of green. So we have green over here. Now let's get back to the second count of Prime TV shows, and inside here let's select line. So we have line over here. Now we can actually kind of select the color for that as well. Now we'll select some opposite color for that. Let's select pink. Or you can also go with orange, kind of more visible. Yeah, we are done with the color selection. Now the next step. Now we'll get back to the second measure over here. Now we'll right click it, and inside that we will select add table calculation. Now we'll select the calculation type, and we needed the running total of this, and we're going to compute this using table across. And the most important step is the last step, to select the add secondary calculation. By clicking on this, we'll have another dialog box, and we need to add some more details into this one. So here we'll be selecting the difference from, and we'll change that to % of total. And next we'll select the table across, which is the default one over here, and we are done. So as discussed in the definition, the individual values are shown in descending order by bars, and the ascending cumulative total is represented by the line. So you can see the individual values of the Jenna are represented in the form of bars, and the ascending cumulative total is in the form of line. So this is how we use the Pareto chart in real time in Tableau. Now moving ahead, the next type of chart that we will be discussing today is the text chart. There is nothing much of a rocket science in text chart. It's just a simple tabular way of expressing your data. Text charts are created by placing one dimension on the row shelf and another on the column shelf. Text tables are also called as crosstabs or pivot tables. Now let's get back to Tableau and try to execute a simple example. As you can see in this particular book, I have already executed a text chart. Now to avoid confusion, let's try to recreate another sheet and rename it as text chart 2. It's done. Now let's drag in the Jenna and the name of the show to the rows. So you can see that the Tableau has automatically selected the text chart for this particular data, and we have our text chart over here which shows us the Jenna, which is action, the name of the shows under Jenna category, and similarly action, comedy, adventure, animation, etc., etc. Now with this, let's continue with our next type of chart. So the next type of chart that we will be dealing today is the waterfall chart. So the waterfall chart displays the cumulative effect of sequential positive and negative values. It shows where the value starts, ends, and how it goes there incrementally. So the waterfall chart is a little complicated than the other charts. Now I want you guys to follow me up a little bit more cautiously. Now let's continue with the waterfall chart. So for that, let's drag the language from dimensions into columns and prime TV shows data from measures to rows. Now we have our bar chart over here. Now the next step is select the prime TV shows data, which is in the rows. Now the same thing is in the measures as well. So keep in mind that you need to select the prime TV shows from the measures. Let's right click on that and you can see a create option, and inside that select the calculated field option. Now let's rename this. And remember to add a negative symbol. Now I'll tell you why we are going to add the negative symbol. As we progress into the waterfall chart, we convert this particular bar chart into a Gantt chart as a step of the process. So in that particular stage, we might have to make some space between the bars. So that's the reason we have selected negative of count over here. You'll see that happening in the next steps. Now you can see we have a new measure, which is a negative of count. Now let's drag and drop that onto our size option in the max card. So you can see I've selected the negative of count, which is in this particular case. The complete uppercase is for the first waterfall chart what we made. So we have our chart over here. Now let's get back to our rows. Click on this option. Now we have our quick table calculation option, and that will be selecting the running total. Now we are almost done. Just one step is remaining to convert this particular chart into a Gantt chart. So there you go. We have our waterfall chart over here. Now the next one in the list is the heat maps. So you can see how a typical heat map in real time looks like. So a Tableau heat map is used to display the data along with colors. We can create a heat map using one or more dimension member and measure value. Now let's get back to Tableau and try to create a heat map. Let's create a new sheet. Rename it as heat map 2. Enter. And there we have our heat map. Now let's drag in some data to create a heat map. So for that, let's select genre from dimensions and drop it down to, no, we're not going to drop it. So we'll be selecting both the data at once. So the genre one. Now let's hold the control button and select the number of seasons from measures. Now we will go to show me option, and you can see that we have various options over here. So this particular icon is for heat maps. Now let's select that. Now we have the heat map. Now let's drag the IMDb rating from the measures into size. And this one, IMDb ratings into size, so that we have the different sizes for the boxes over here. So the biggest one here and this next leading one over here. Now the problem is we have the same color for all the boxes. Now for that, let's try to drag the genre into color so that we have different color for different genre. So that's how the heat maps are done. Now the next chart in the list is the Gantt chart. So a Gantt chart looks something like this. Now what exactly is a Gantt chart? Gantt chart shows the progress of the value of a task or resource over a period. It is used in project management and other types of variation study over a period. Now to create a Gantt chart, we will be using the second dataset, which is the Tableau Superstore dataset. So I have already created a Gantt chart over here. This is how a sample Gantt chart looks. So we have discussed that a Gantt chart is used to study the variation in the standards for over a period of time. So here we are selecting the first class, same day, second class, standard class deliveries over a period of time. So we have the dates over here, or we can say that the period of time has been selected in the form of dates or day. Now let's recreate a Gantt chart and see how it's practically done. So for that, let's create a new sheet, G. Now we'll follow this in a step-by-step way. First, let's drag the order date into columns. Now, let's select this or right click it and change the order to day. Now we have the days 1 to 30 in a month. Now let's move on to the menu bar and let's select the analysis button. And in that, let's select create calculated field. Now we have our calculation tab over here. Now let's type in the calculation. Now we are going to use this particular Gantt chart to study the shipment. Now once the creation of Gantt chart is done, we will study how the shipment is done based on what kind of class is selected for shipment as the days passed. Now inside the calculated field, we'll write the formula date difference. So this is the one, and inside that we'll be going to select the day, next order date, next ship date, so these particular order date and ship date are from dimensions, so just when we type them, we had them readily available. Now our formula is ready. Let's just select OK. Now in the measures segment, you can see we have a new input or new addition, which is the ship, the formula what we just created. Now we are going to select this and drag this onto the marks card, and on the marks card we are going to drop it on the size. Now our Gantt chart is almost ready. The only thing remaining is to drag the ship mode to rows so that we can have the details of that particular shipment mode, the standard one, the first class one, etc, etc. So for that, let's drag in the ship mode from the dimensions to rows. So there you go. We have our shipment mode. Now the next type of chart that we will be dealing with today is the pie chart. So pie chart represents data as slices of a circle with different sizes and colors. The slices are labeled volume and the volumes are represented in the form of a chart. Now let's continue with the pie chart. So to create a pie chart, let's select the language option from dimensions and hold Control button and select the number of Prime TV shows. And you can see the show me icon over here. Let's select that, and inside that you can see a pie icon over here. So just select that and we have a pie chart over here. Now I can see that the pie chart what we created looks a little bit smaller, so don't worry. Now let's just select the standard option here. From that, let's select the entire view, and there you go, we have a little bit more bigger pie chart. If you're still not convinced with the size, you can just go to the size option and try to increase the size, and there you go, you have the pie chart. Now the next type of chart available in our list is the bubble chart. So the bubble chart looks something like this. So bubble charts display data as a cluster of circles. Each value in the dimension field represents a circle, whereas the values of measure represent the size of those circles. Pretty simple. Now let's get back to Tableau and try to execute a bubble chart. So this is how a standard bubble chart looks like. Now let's create a new sheet. Rename this as bubble. Now let's select genres from dimensions and number of seasons from measures. Now the genre will help us to know a particular value, and that particular value will be a circle in the bubble chart, and the number of seasons will provide the size of the bubble. That means the highest number of seasons for a particular genre will be having the biggest circle. Now let's select the show me, and inside that you can see the bubble chart. Let's just select that, and you can see we have different circles and different sizes of different circles. Now we have the same color for all the circles. To change that, let's drag genre into color, and now we have different color for different genre. Now the next type of chart that we will be dealing is the histogram. Histogram is one of the simplest charts available and also easiest to create. So histogram is a chart that displays the shape of a distribution. Histogram looks like a bar chart but groups values for a continuous measure into ranges or bins. Now to understand this better, let's get back to Tableau and try to create a new chart. So we are back on Tableau. Let's rename this as histogram. Let's just select enter. Now let's select the IMDb ratings. Now we'll be using the IMDb ratings measure to create a histogram, and we'll be having the biggest bar for the highest rating of IMDb. Now we have selected IMDb rating. Just hover over to show me tab, and in that you can see the histogram tab over here. Let's just select that, and we have the histogram chart on our window. So there are many shows, and each and every show has specific number of IMDb ratings. So a maximum number of shows are having 7.2 as the IMDb rating. Now followed by histogram, we have the next type of chart, that is the highlight table. So highlight table is completely similar to the text table that we have already dealt with. The only difference is we have various colors for various data cells inside that particular table. Now, in Tableau, highlight tables are used to compare categorical data using color and represented in the form of tables. That's what we discussed. Now, let's get back to Tableau and try to create a highlight table. Let's create a new sheet and rename it as HD. So to continue with the highlight table, let's select genre from dimensions and hold Control button and select the number of seasons available. And when you hover over to show me, you can see a table called highlight tables. Let's select that option, and you can see we have the highlight option over here. Now you can see that we have different colors for different number of seasons available in that particular genre. Now you can see that they are not ordered, so let's just select the sort option and sort from descending order. So there you go, we have the highest number of seasons available for drama, that is 339. Now the next type of chart that we will be dealing is the line chart. So a typical line chart looks something like this. So the line charts connect individual data points in a view. They provide a simple way to visualize a sequence of values and are really useful when you want to see trends. Now let's get back to the Tableau, and here we are going to use the Superstore dataset so that we can have a look on the trends. Now let's create a new sheet and rename it as line 2. Now let's drag the profit into rows and see if the profit is increasing day by day or not. As you can see, the Tableau has automatically selected the line chart for us, and there you go, we can see that the profit is increasing day by day or year by year. We can just kind of select the plus icon over here and see we can have a quarterly update over here. So Q1, Q2, Q4 of the year 2014 and 2015, 2016 and 2017, the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So that's how we use the line graph. Now the next type of graph that we will be dealing is the bullet chart. So a normal bullet chart looks something like this. So a bullet graph is a bar graph that replaces dashboard gauges and meters. It is used to compare performance of a primary measure to one or more measures. Now let's get back to Tableau and see how a bullet chart is made. Now let's create a new sheet. Let's rename it as bullet 2. Enter. Now for a bullet chart, we'll start with the analysis button on the toolbar or the menu bar. Click analysis and now select create calculated field option. Now inside that, let's try to set an average for profit. So we can kind of estimate a profit over here. So let's rename it profit estimated. So basically we are going to use the bullet chart to estimate the profit in future. Now inside that, let's have an average value. So average value of profit must be something nearly 250 to 300. So just write in 275,000. Just select OK. So this is the average what we're expecting. This must be the average amount of profit that we should be facing in the near future. Now we have a new measure in the measures section, that is the profit estimated. Now just select that and hold control, and now we're going to select profit. Now we are going to hover over the show me option, and there you go, we have the bullet graph option over here. We're going to select that, so we have the bullet chart over here. So there you go, we have the bullet chart over here. We can kind of increase the size of that as well. So there you go, that's how we use the bullet chart in real time. Now the next type of chart that we will be discussing today is the scatter plot. So scatter plot shows how points are scattered in Cartesian plane. It is created by plotting values of numerical variables as x and y coordinates in the Cartesian plane. Now let's get back to Tableau and see how scatter plot is used in real time. So we are back on Tableau. So a scatter plot should be looking something like this. Now let's try to recreate a new scatter plot sheet. Let's rename it as scatter plot 2. Now to create a scatter plot, let's try to drag the genre from dimensions into columns and the sum of seasons from measures. Now we have the bar chart by default. Now let's just select the marks card, and inside that let's select the shape option. Now we have the data scattered across the different points in the Cartesian plane. Now just select the genre and drag it into color. So we have different colors for different genres. So this is how the scatter plot looks like. Now let's continue with the next type of chart. That is the area chart. So an area chart is a line chart where the area between the line and the axis is shaded with a color. Now let's get back to Tableau and see how exactly an area chart looks like. So an area chart looks something like this. So let's try to recreate area chart once again. New sheet A2. Now we're going to see how the sales are happening according to a particular area. For that, let's select order date and hold control and select quantity, so that we can have a sheet which shows us the sales happening in quantity on particular dates. Now we have the show me tab and we have the area chart option over here. Let's just select that, and we have the area chart over here. Now you can see that we have one single color for all the sales and quantity. Now to have the details of the regions, like in what region what kind of sales are happening and what quantity, we want to select the region and drag that over color. So we have 4 different colors for 4 different regions: the central, east, south and west. So this is how we use the area chart. Now followed by area chart. Now the next type of chart that we will be dealing is the dual axis chart. So what exactly is a dual axis chart? So a typical dual axis chart looks something like this. So dual axes are 2 independent axes that are layered on top of each other. According to Tableau, dual axes allow you to compare multiple measures. Now let's get back to Tableau and try to create a typical dual axis chart. So a typical dual axis chart looks something like this. Now let's try to recreate this one. Create a new sheet, D2. Now the dual axis chart is really simple to create. Let's select order date from dimensions, hold the control key. Now you want to select the quantity from measures. Now again hold the control key. Now you also have to select the sales options. So we have selected the order date, quantity and sales. Now we are going to select the dual axis chart from show me. So we have the dual axis chart on my screen right now. So what we are going to learn from this is we are going to learn the quantity of sales happening according to the years. So in the year 2014 we have the quantity of sales which is something around 7.5k, and it has grown gradually from 2015, 16 and 17 and reached above 12k. So this is what we get to know from dual axis chart. So the number of sales happening and the quantity of sales happening. So the line shows us the number of sales and the bar shows us the quantity of sales. Now with this, let's continue with the next type of chart in our list. So the next type of chart that we will be dealing is the symbol map. So the symbol maps are simply maps that have a mark displayed over a given longitude and a latitude. So now we are back on Tableau. Now let's try to execute the symbol map. So symbol map looks something like this. So we have the number of sales happening in a particular country and a particular city. Now to create a symbol map, let's select city, hold control, country, and again hold control and select sales. Now you can see that we have two different maps over here. The first one is symbol map and the second one is maps. Now let's select the symbol map and there you go. We have the symbol map over here. Now we have the same color for all these sales. Now let's kind of select sales and drag it to color. So we have different colors for different amount of sales happening. So the darkest one shows the highest number of sales and a lighter one shows the least number of sales. So that's how we use symbol maps in real time. Let's get back to the presentation again. Now the next type of chart that we will be dealing with today is the map chart. So a map view is one data point created since geographic role is assigned to a country. Tableau creates the map view as shown in the image here. So similar to the symbol maps, we can use the maps which shows the amount of sales or profits or anything happening in that particular country or city. Now let's get back to Tableau and try to create a map. Now a sample map looks something like this. Now let's try to create a new map. M2. Now to create a map, let's select country and hold control, and now let's select kind of profit. So let's select the map icon here, and so now we have different colors for different profits. So this particular state or country says that we have a profit of 286,397 numbers, or it might be even dollars or something. We can also select the country and hold control and select sales. And now we can also select maps again. So this is how the map chart looks like. Now let's get back to the presentation. And the next type of chart that we will be dealing with today is the tree map chart. So what exactly is a tree map chart? So the tree maps are used to display data in nested rectangles. You use dimensions to define the structure of the tree map and measures to define the size or color of the rectangles. Now let's get back to Tableau and try to create a tree map. So you can see that we already have a tree map. Now we are back onto the Prime TV dataset. So we have used the genre and we have used the sum of IMDb ratings to create the tree map over here. Now let's create a new sheet and try to recreate the tree map so that we can understand how to create a tree map in real time. Let's rename it tree map. So the tree map 2 is being recreated. Now just select the genre and from that hold the control key and select the IMDb ratings. And now hold the control key again and select the number of seasons available. And now when you hover over to the show me tab, you can see the tree maps icon over here. Let's just select that. So there you go. You can see the tree map on the screen right now, and we have different colors for different genres. So the darkest color for the drama has the number of or the highest number of IMDb ratings and the highest number of seasons available, and similarly so on. Now the least one is the comedy, arts, entertainment, culture with the least IMDb rating of 6.2 and only the number of seasons available are 1. So this was the last type of chart that we had to deal with today in this particular Tableau Charts tutorial. Now let's get back to the presentation. So with that, we have reached to the end of this particular Tableau Charts tutorial. If you have any queries regarding the tutorial or the charts executed in this particular tutorial, or if you need the datasets that we used in this particular charts tutorial, or if you feel that we missed out anything important, then feel free to let us know in the comment section below, and our team of experts will get back to you soon as possible. Until next time, thank you, stay safe and keep learning.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.